So good evening friends. Today we are going to talk about UI components. So in that process I'll be discussing uh, many things about JQuery. Okay, so as we all know, JQuery is a very popular JavaScript framework. Okay, now we basically use jQuery in our real world while designing our UI pages. Okay, and there are a lot of many things which jQuery can do which is very difficult to achieve by using JavaScript. So let me first tell you what exactly is a jQuery. Number one, jQuery is a UI framework. Okay, next, jQuery is, I can say, advanced JavaScript which is built on top of JavaScript. Okay, now why should you use jQuery? Like, you can still work without jQuery. Okay, but jQuery provides you with rich UI components. jQuery provides you lightweight widgets. jQuery provides you custom validation on page with lesser code. Alright, so earlier when I used to work in the beginning stage, we had to write some sort of JavaScript for validation, but these days we use a lot of jQuery because the coding in jQuery is very less and very easy to understand. Okay, now let's talk about what jQuery can do. So very simple, what you do, you just go to Google and you just type jQuery. The first thing is jQuery is completely open source and you will get the source code of jQuery. There are a lot of developers who are using the jQuery. There are a lot of developers who are developing plugins for jQuery. Okay, for example, let's say there is a requirement of adding date picker in your project. I hope you understand what is a date picker. Okay, so when you want to add date picker in your project, you have to find out those date pickers in the internet. You try to see, there are a lot of date pickers you will get. Many date pickers you will see that is provided by normal JavaScript. Many date picker you will see that is provided by jQuery. Many date picker you may see provided by Dojo. Many date picker you may see provided by AngularJS. Okay, so let me tell you the competitor of jQuery. So three beautiful competitors are, one is jQuery itself, and along with that we have something called Dojo framework. Okay, there's something called prototype. There's something called AngularJS, and so on. Alright, so each of these have their own advantage and disadvantage. Now AngularJS is also peaking very good in the market. Okay, but let me tell you, still a lot of websites are being developed by using jQuery. Now when you start googling jQuery, this is the default homepage of jQuery. Okay, here by going here you can download the latest version. So click on this. Okay, now you see there is a section to download jQuery here. But before downloading this jQuery, let's go back and let's see what jQuery can do. Okay, so here you have something called jQuery UI. Open this jQuery UI. Now you see you can design some component like this, draggable. You can design some component like this. You see this, here is a small box and you can drag and drop it somewhere. Okay, droppable. You can design some component like this, drag it, drop it. Resizable. You can design some component like this, which can be resized. Selectable, you can design some component like this. Select this, select this, select this, say okay. Sortable, you can sort the element. You can reorder the element in some structure. Similarly, we have few more things. Accordion, you see, let's assume that you have a form page. Okay, let's assume that you have a form page where you would be taking input from end user, and you would like to store a lot of information about the user first name, user middle name, user last name, user date of birth, users parents detail, users wife detail if any, users child detail if any, user official address, user this address, user that address, and so on. So if you try to design a single form page, using this whole requirement, don't you think the form page will be very lengthy? Yes, the form page will be very lengthy. Are you getting my point? Let's say you have a requirement of gathering a lot of information from end user. So what you will do? You will basically design one big form page having all this component. Correct? Okay. So I was just talking about a form page. Let's say I have a website which has got a form page, and in order to register, the user has to provide some input. Okay. Now I want to gather lot of details from end user. Okay, so lot of details means end user first name, middle name, last name, his parent details, his children details, his spouse details, how many vehicle he owns, okay, how many addresses, different phone numbers, and so on. So if you want to store, if you want to get all this information from your customer or from your end user, then you have to design a page with that many components. Correct? And if you provide all this detail in a single page, then the first thing is the user will not like to register. He will hate your page because he has to provide this many details. He will become frustrated. So what we will do is we will create some section like this. Section 1, let's say basic detail. Here we will have some form component. Section 2, once the user has entered this, he will click on this. He will enter few more details. Okay, once he is done with this, he will click on this. Section 3, he will enter few more details. Again, when it is done, again he will click on section 4. He will enter few more details. Finally, he clicks on submit button, and all this data will go and will be stored in the database. Okay, so here if you see, in each section, if you place just 5 component, 5, 5, 5, 5. So the thing is, the first thing would be the form will not be that much longer, right? The form will not be that much lengthy. It will look very small. And second point is, the user will not feel frustrated. Okay, the user will only think, okay, just 5 details. He will enter quickly 5 details. He will click here. He will say, okay, just 5 details. Again, he will click here. He will just say, okay, just 5 details. But if you show him all 20 component together, then he will become frustrated. Is not it? So how can you design this kind of component? You can use JQuery, and it will give you, a very easy way to add this component into your project. We are not going to design this. JQuery has given. We will just use it. Clear? Next, autocomplete. You might have seen this autocomplete feature. I want to get, like in the Google search also you will get. You open google.com, you try to search for something, say Java books. The moment you say JA, it will start giving you suggestion, correct? So let's say A, Java. See this? This also is very easy to develop by using jQuery. Okay. Next, buttons. These are buttons, and you can also have buttons like this. Check it out. These are also actually buttons. These are buttons with some icons. These are also buttons looking like a radio, out of which you can select only one. This is also a button. This is also a set of buttons. It looks like a media player, right? So it is also a button. So you can add all these features into your pages. Next, go to your date picker. The date picker, whatever I was talking about, check it out. I'll click on this. I got a date keeper. Okay, I got a date picker. Now you'll have various animations here. See here, a lot of animations. Bouncing, drop, slide, slide down. Okay, so these are date pickers. So if you see, not only you are not only you are able to work with the date picker, but this date picker comes with various format. Dates in other month, you will see current as well as the other month. Format date, in which format you want to see. For example, if I say mmddyy, click on any date, mmddyy. See this is another format. So you can work with various varieties. When I say date picker, it's not only a date picker, but it is variety of date picker. Next, you have progress bar. You have a menu bar. Okay, you have tooltip. See this, when I put a cursor here, I want to pop up some information. We ask for your age only for statistical purposes. So this is called tooltip. Whenever you put your cursor here, a bubble coming up, a pop-up coming up, this is called as tooltip. Okay, so these kind of varieties you can add using jQuery. Alright, so are you now convinced what is a jQuery and what can we do by using jQuery? Okay, now let's move into programming. Okay, let's try to understand how to work with jQuery. So initially I will not be teaching you all this. We will learn this slowly. Alright, so we'll start from the very basic, we'll start from the very scratch level. Now, as I told, jQuery is basically a JavaScript framework. Okay, now how to download the jQuery? Let's try to see. How to download jQuery. So to download the jQuery, you go to your Google search, you type jQuery. Okay, click on this jQuery.com, click on this download jQuery. Okay, now here you see there is jQuery 1.x, there is jQuery 2.x. So what we will do, we'll work with 1.x only. Now in the 1.x there is a latest version 1.11.3. okay, so you can click on this, you can click on this also. See here, download the compressed jQuery, download the uncompressed jQuery. So basically jQuery comes in two flavor, I'll say three flavor, but usually we deal with only two flavor, compressed and uncompressed. When you say compressed jQuery, when you click on this, you'll get this code. Okay, and this code is completely compressed, you'll not able to figure it out. Next, when you say uncompressed, see this, you'll get a very good, neat and clean, decent code. This is not compressed one, this is compressed one. Okay, which one to choose your choice, no problem. So what we will do is, we'll copy this. See how am I downloading this. I'll say Control A, copy. What is the version? jQuery 1.11.3, right? So go to your folder, new, I'll say here new jQuery example. You create a new file here. Inside this you say paste. Okay, Control FA, save as. What is the file name? You can choose this file name, you can use this file name. Copy, paste, save. Okay, this is done. Next, here jQuery 1.11.3.js. So copy this, paste, save as. Copy this, save it, done. Now you go to your folder, you see we have two files here. We have two files here. One is .min, another one is without min. Okay, so min means minimized. Getting my point? Min means minimized, and if you see without min, it means normal one. Okay, so what is the difference between these two? Do you see any other difference between these two files? What is the difference between these two files? Yes, if you check the size, this is just 94 KB and this is 288 KB. Okay, so this is compressed one, that's why minimized, and this is uncompressed one, that's why not minimized. Okay, so if you get across these two files, anywhere, by looking at the file name you should understand which one is minimized and which one is not. Okay, now can you tell me which one generally we use in development and which one generally we use in production? In development generally it's okay if you use this. Okay, in development if it's okay if you use this, but in production generally we use this because it is compressed one, will take less size. Clear? Okay, now the first thing what you should do while writing a jQuery program is arrange your library. Arrange your jQuery library. We have done it. Is not it? We have done it. And if you see what is the extension .js, that means it is internally a JavaScript file only, correct? That's the reason I said jQuery is nothing but advanced JavaScript. It is internally a JavaScript. Okay, so we have done this. Arrange your jQuery library. In the bracket you say jQuery hyphen version hyphen min.jar, anything. Okay, sorry, min.js. So I am basically talking about this one. Okay, this is done. Next, now what you do, you create your HTML page, link this jQuery in your page and start working with jQuery. Okay, I'll go back. Let me just copy this only one file, paste. I'll open this using notepad++. Okay, now check it out. This is an HTML file. HTML head, script language equal to JavaScript, source equal to your jQuery script file name. Okay, your jQuery library name. So here I have to change this name or not? So you need to change this with respect to these two. Anything you can choose. You choose minimized version, you choose maximized version, no problem. Say rename. I'll copy this. Okay, done. So this is how you are going to import your jQuery into your file. Once this is done, then you start working using jQuery. We'll see this. Okay, we'll see this later. Now I'll just open this one, double click. Okay, let me just check it in IE. Copy this. Okay, let me just check the source code if anything went wrong. jQuery 1.11.3. minimize version. Looks good. Okay, .js was missing. Okay, .js was missing here. Save it. Now you load. You see, I got some message here and I got hello world here. Okay, we'll see this programming later, but I was just trying to tell you how to import jQuery and how to work with jQuery. Are we clear till now? Any queries? Okay, so just now we saw how to download jQuery, how to use it in our page, how to link that jQuery file into our page, and how to work with jQuery. Okay, so I have not explained you this code. Now we will discuss this code. Okay, but before discussing this code, we need to have some understanding on the browser. Alright, so now I am going to talk about the behavior of browser. What happens when you open a page on browser? So let's go here. If you see, this is my HTML file. Okay, if you see, this is my HTML file. When you double click on it, what happens? It gets open in browser, correct? Now this file is an HTML file and it contains HTML code. Okay, and browser is a software. Your web browser is a software. When you launch this file, your web browser will try to read this file. Your web browser will try to read this file, and what it will do is it will start creating a DOM object like this. a kind of tree structure. It will try to create a DOM object like this. Something like this. Okay, once your DOM object is ready, then only browser loads the data into your display area. So whenever you double click your HTML file, a browser will be launched. The browser internally reads the content of this file. It parses that content and it creates a DOM structure like this. And once the DOM structure is completely ready, then only the output will be displayed on the browser window. Clear? So this DOM is nothing but a representation. Of your tags. For example, if you see here, I have one HTML tag. Inside that I have one head. Inside this head I have a script. So what it will do is, a root tag is HTML. A root tag is HTML. Inside this HTML, you have a subtag called head, and you also have a body, correct? Inside this HTML, if you see, HTML is a root tag. Inside that you have head and you have body. So inside the HTML, you have head, you have a body. Again, inside your head you have some other tags, inside the body you have some tags. So it will create a tree structure for the whole HTML data. Alright, it will create the whole structure for HTML data, and once this structure is completely prepared, you can say your DOM object is ready. And once your DOM object is ready, then only the browser displays the content in your display area. Okay, then only browser displays your content in display area. This is called as display area in window. Getting my point? Okay, so one more thing we need to discuss. Do you know what is div and span in HTML? Do you know what is div and span in HTML? Okay, so let me give a very clear example on it. What does it do actually? Let's assume this is, this is a piece of land, a very big piece of land, and you bought some portion of it. So how do you identify what is the portion of land you have bought? How do you identify what is the portion of land you have bought? You will basically divide this. You will use some sort of marker, is not it? You will use some sort of marker saying that this land belongs to me. Some other person will mark his land. He will say this portion belongs to me. Some other guy will again mark that this piece of portion belongs to me, correct? And later they may build their house or they may sell it. Similarly in HTML, okay, let me assume that this is my HTML page. This is my complete HTML page. So you can also reserve some space, okay, by using div and span. You can reserve some space. Let's say this is an HTML and it has some content. Say hello, how are you? I am good. Now let's assume somebody wants to place some data here between these two lines. So what he will do is he will either use pen or he can use div. He will either use pen or he can use div, and he will mark this area. Okay, he will mark this area. This marking area will not be visible to the end user, but internally it will be maintained in form of div or span. Later through programming or through something, you may add data into this. Okay, you may add data into this marker. So I can say div and span are nothing but the markers in HTML which will be used to mark some area, and later that area will be filled up with some data. Correct? Okay, now let's move to our first example. So this is my first example, very simple. Alright, the first one, HTML beginning tag, head, inside that. Now importing your JQuery, importing your new JQuery. Next, script language equal to JavaScript. This is basically a script where you will write your JQuery code. Okay, you import the JQuery like this and you write your JQuery code here. Next, within the body, if you see what I have done, I have created one marker, right? Inside the body means this one, this area. Inside this area, we have marked a position. What is the position name? What is the position identification name? Correct, area 1. So this position will be identified by area 1. Okay, a nickname for this position. Similarly, can I have multiple divs here with a different name? Correct. So since this is a very first example, we have just created one marker. That marker name is area 1. So can I say something like this? We created a marker. This marker will be identified by a name called area 1, capital A. Okay, next. Now what will happen? Let's say you open this file in browser. So what the browser will do? The browser will read all the elements and it will create a DOM object. Is not it? It will create a DOM object, and once the DOM object is ready, then it starts executing your script. Once the DOM object is ready, it starts executing the script. So when I say the DOM object is ready, by that time, don't you think this body will be ready and inside that one div will also be formed? Okay, so by the time your DOM object is ready, your div will already been created. Okay, once this div is ready, then what will happen? Your script will be executed. All the scripts will be executed. So check it out here. Script language equal to JavaScript $document.ready. Now this dollar is nothing but a symbol which says that it is a jQuery. Okay, dollar means jQuery. Alright, so dollar document dot ready. Document means the DOM object. Document means the DOM object. So the meaning of this line is, whenever your DOM object is ready, whenever your DOM object is ready, call F1 function. You see here we have F1. F1 is nothing but a function name which we have defined here. Clear? So whenever, as soon as your document object is ready, it will call F1 function. And function F1, function F1. Okay, so document dot ready F1. That means as soon as your document DOM object is ready, you call F1 function. And if you see, the function is here, function F1. Now this name can be anything. You write here AD, then you write here AD. Okay, if the function name is hello, you write here hello. So you can name anything. Okay, so what it will do is, as soon as your DOM is ready, it will call function F1, and inside the function F1, whatever logic you have written, that will be executed. So what is the logic? Dollar area 1. What is this area 1? Do you remember? Like we had created something called area. We had created one div and its nickname was area 1. So I am trying to get access to this area. Dollar means jQuery has. If you have any element inside your body, if you have any element, if you have defined one ID for that, if you have defined one ID of the element, to access this ID, you have to use has. To access this ID, you have to use has. Okay, you'll get it more clear. You'll get this more clear when we move into few more examples. So for the time being, just try to understand, if you have an element with one ID, if you want to access this ID from your jQuery logic, okay, you have to use has. So dollar has area 1, meaning is this. .html, hello world. .html means write this data under this div area. Okay, write this data. What do we have? Hello world. You write this data inside here in HTML format. I'll talk about this more. Okay, so what it will do, it will simply copy this data and it writes the data here, and then it will also give you an alert of hello world. That is the reason when you load this page, see this, you got one alert here, hello world, and you also got hello world here. Okay, so why this .html? Reason is, if you want to write this data in bold format, so you can easily say bold, save it. Now when you refresh this page, you will get to see that this hello world is printed in bold format. Now this time you see, last time it was not bold, but this time it is bold. That's the reason you have this HTML. Okay, that's the reason you have this HTML. So if you say .html, that means inside this you can write any HTML code, and this code will be executed first. The output will be written here. Okay, however, you also have something called text. You also have something called text. So when you say has area 1 dot text of this, so this time this bold will not be considered as an HTML tag. This time this bold will not be treated as HTML tag, and you will get this as it is. Okay, you will get this as it is. So check it out here. See, hello world got printed, but here this bold, this B and this B, this was not treated as HTML, is not it? Okay, so did you understand the first example? Okay, shall we move to the next example then? First example is done. Next, let's move to the next example. So let me execute all of this from here, and I'll be using JQuery 1.6. That's fine. It's up to you which version you want to use. The process remains same. So first, let's see the output. Then we will see the code. Double click on this. Click me, hit me. I clicked on this. You clicked button 1. Hit me. This is an alert. You clicked button 2. You clicked button 1. Click on this. Gone. Click on this. Gone. Will you be able to do this by using JavaScript? Yes or no? See, the functionality is very simple. You click on this, you should get something. When you click on this, again it should disappear. You can do it because when you can do it through jQuery internally uses JavaScript. Okay, so you can do it using JavaScript also, but it is trivial. It is not that easy, and the code will be lengthy. Okay, now if you see, this is a button, and we have given some color in this button, correct? Yes, we have given some color in this button. So let's try to see the code now. Right click on this. Okay, so the code looks little big, but believe me, it is not big. Believe me, it is not big. So we will start with body. Okay, we'll talk about this later. We'll just start with body. Body form action equal to nothing. That's fine. Input type equal to button, id equal to button 1, value equal to click me. Button id equal to button 2, hit me. This is the two way to create a button. One is input type, another one is button type. Okay, so in the body we have created two buttons. Delete this. So we have two buttons. This is button 1. Okay, this is button 2. Input type equal to button, id equal to button 1, value equal to click me. Id equal to button 1. So this one id is button 1. What the value? Value is click me. So value means inside this button, the caption. Next, button id equal to button 2, hit me. Value is hit me. So this is the caption. Okay, so we have two buttons here. Next, if you see, we also have a div and we also have a span, and their IDs are ID1 and ID2. one div, one span, id1, id2. Okay, so I think we have covered the body part completely, is not it? Next, now let's move to your JavaScript part. So what will happen whenever this page is given to browser, the browser will first parse all the elements and it will create a DOM structure. So DOM structure means all this will be ready, all this component will be loaded. Okay, and as soon as the DOM structure is ready, then it starts displaying the data in the browser. Just give me 1 minute. Right, so once the DOM object is ready, then what will happen? As soon as the document is ready, once the DOM object is ready, it starts printing that components into body. It starts displaying the data into this body and your document will be completely ready. Okay, so once the document is ready, you call f1 method, f1 function. So f1 is user defined function f1. So this will be called, only this will be called. Okay, only this will be called. So if you are from Java background, you can assume this is a JVM. You can assume this is a JVM and this JVM is calling your main method. This is your main method. Whereas all this will not be called internally. All this will not be called automatically. You have to call from somewhere. Okay, so f1 will be called, and in the f1 if you see dollar, last time we had used has, this time I am using colon. The meaning of colon means for all the type, for all button type. If you see, this is a button as well as this is a button. Okay, so the meaning of this line is, for all the button element dot css, background you put orange, border you give 3 pixels, width and solid. So that is the reason you are getting these colors here. Okay, now whenever I click this button 1, whenever I click this click me, I am getting you clicked button 1. Correct? So for this you have to mention the logic, you have to write the logic. On click of this button 1, display something. So check it out here. Dollar has button 1. What is the meaning of this? This means I am trying to point to button 1. Okay, I am trying to point to button 1. Dot click means when I click button 1, whenever I click button 1, okay, call display function, and this display 1 function is also user defined function. Choice is yours, the naming is your choice. Similarly, dollar button 2 dot click display 2, that means if button 2 is clicked, then you call display 2 function. Okay, so whenever I click on button 1, what happens? It calls display 1 function, and in this display 1 function you see dollar id1 dot html. This id1 is what? This id1 is basically this id. Okay, so id1 dot html, we had done this in the last example. Has id1.html, you clicked button 1. So what it will do? It will write this message inside the id. Correct? It will write this message inside your id1. So here you will see, you clicked button 1. Similarly, when you say display 2, sorry, whenever you click button 2, it will call display to method and you will get one alert. And you will get one alert. This is alert. Hit me. This is alert. Okay, so you will get alert. Okay, so you got that alert as well here. Okay, next, so when you click on button 1, it calls display 1. Display 1 method will do what? It will say you clicked button 1, and what it is doing, if you click on this id1, again it is calling delete message method. Okay, if you click this id1, what is this id1? This id1, this id1 is this. So if you click on that area, then it will again call one more method called delete message. You check the delete message logic. Okay, so what it will do, $this means the current component dot hide. So what it will do, it will hide. Okay, that's the reason you are getting this feeling. You click on this, you will get you click button on. When you click this, what will happen? Delete message method gets called and it is saying hide. So this will be hidden. Are you getting my point? So actually we have not deleted that, we have just hidden that value. Now similarly when you click on button 2, display 2 will be called. Display 2 will be called. Here this is an alert, it will display id2.html, it will say you click button 2, this will also be done. And then if id2.click, if you click on that delete message, it will also call the delete message button. Okay, so it will also call this delete message function, which will again delete the data. Getting my point? So any questions on this part? Okay, let's move to the next. So next example is about select box example. So right now I am trying to give you small example, and you will be utilizing this if you work on the exam on an assignment. So whenever I will give you a project to work upon, so in that case we'll have a UI, and in that UI you are supposed to use all these concepts one by one. Okay, next is select box example. Let me click on this, let's see what it does, then we'll get to see the source code. I don't have anything here. Okay, I click on populate data, I got some data here. I say remove, everything got deleted. Again I click on populate data, again I click on populate data, again I clicked on populate data. 3 times I clicked on populate data. Okay, so I got this element 3 many times. Again I just clicked on remove, the data got removed. So I believe you understood the functionality. Let's see the source code of it. Okay, don't worry, this looks very difficult. Okay, but I'll make it easy. We'll just talk with respect to body first. In body, if you see, I have 3 components. One is div, another one is 2 buttons. Populate data, remove data. So let me go here, not here, let me go here, and I'll clear this again. I'll clear this again. Now this is okay, this one. So the first one is div having a nickname called area1. This is a div actually, okay, and its nickname is what? Area1. So id is equal to area1, right? And how do you access this id in jQuery? Which symbol will you use to access this id in your jQuery? Correct, has. So whatever element you have in your form page, okay, if you have id, then to access that using id you have to use has. Okay, so we have id equal to area1. Next, we have two more buttons, button and button 2. So if you see, this button also has got id1 and id2. Okay, so in order to access this button 1 and button 2, you still have to use has button 1 and has button 2, because if you have any element which has got id, if you want to access this element by using this id, then you have to use has. Okay, so button 1, button 2, button 1, button 2, one is populate data, another one is remove. This populate data, this is populate data, and this is remove. Correct. And what is this id? This id is btn1. And what is this id? btn2. Done. Now whenever you load this, whenever you give this page to HTML for loading, what it will do? The HTML will first create the DOM object, and once the DOM object is created, completely ready, then it will display this. It will display this data in document, like it will display this data in the window, okay, and we call it document. And now the script will get executed. Document.ready. That means if the page is completely loaded, all the elements are loaded, you call f1 function. Inside the f1 function, what we are doing, if you see the example, in the example we have one select box, correct? I mean a drop down box. Okay, so this drop down box is automatically generated. If you look into our HTML code, we just have an area, right? We just have one div area having area1. Under this we will populate our select box. Okay, under this we will populate our select box. So check this code out here. Dollar area1, that means that div area dot html. Okay, select id equal to select box, option value equal to none, hyphen select option select. So now are you clear why should we use HTML? If you dynamically want to render HTML component, using jQuery, you have to use HTML. What will happen if you write text, txt text? What will happen if you write here text? You will get this as it is, as a string, as a text inside your div. correct? And the select box will not be created. The select box will not be created. This is what you will be seeing here instead of a select box. Okay, so the select box is ready. Next, I have two buttons, so I am setting the event. If button 1 is clicked, you call this function. Okay, if button 2 is clicked, you call this function. What is the responsibility of button 1? By looking at the functionality, can you tell me what is the responsibility of button 1? What should it do when the button 1 is clicked? Yeah, it should populate the data into the select box. So here I have got a select box now. Okay, and let me say this is select box. This is select box, and if you see the source code, the select box also has got an ID. The select box also has got an ID. ID equal to cell box. So this has got its own ID. Cell box. Okay. So if you see, there is a div outside and there is a select box inside. The select box has got an ID called cell box. This div has got an ID called area 1. This button has got an ID called button 1. This remove has got an ID called button 2. Okay, now button 1 dot click. Whenever button 1 is clicked, which button? This button. Okay, whenever this button 1 is clicked, what should be done? Let's check it out. Whenever the button 1 is clicked, you call btn click function. You call btn dot click function. So let's see that btn1 click, this function will be called, and here what we will do, we will write some logic to add the data into our select box. Okay, we'll write some logic to add the data into a select box. Now check it out. Dollar select box, sorry, has select box means pointing to that select box. Is not it? So this select box, do I already have a value inside this select box? Yes. What is the value? Only one value, select. This select box has got a default value called select. Okay, so onto that I want to append. So select box dot append option value equal to 1 dot text apple dot append option value equal to 2 dot text orange. So what it will do is, it will create a select box. It will create options with value equal to 1 and the display value is apple. So if you remember, in case of your select box, generally the select box is formed by using key value pair. I'll show you here. I'll just say Google select box W3C. Check this out. To create a select box, you need select, you need option, you need a value. This value will be internally used, but this is the display value, correct? Try it yourself. What will happen if I write here 1, if I write here 2, if I write here 3, if I write here 4, and this will remain as it is. So what will happen is, while displaying, it will display as it is. While displaying, it will display you as it is. But whenever you submit your form, this value will not go. This is only for displaying. This value will go internally, correct? If you change here, then it gets changed. So this is basically a display value. This is basically a display value, whereas this is actually the original value which goes to the server whenever you submit your form. Getting my point? Okay, so now let's go back to our code. Now you see here option value equal to 1. This is nothing but this option value. Okay, option value equal to 1. Next, dot text apple. This apple is nothing but the display value. Again, select box dot append option value equal to 2 dot text orange. Now do you remember that in our previous example we said area.html. okay, area.html. Whenever I say area.html, the meaning of this line is within this area 1. Where is this area 1? Area 1 dot html means you write this here in the when you say dot html, in html way. When you say text, write as it is. So similarly here if you see text, so what is the tag name? Option. In the option value you put 1, and in this option, okay, in this option dot text, that means in this option, within this option you write apple, within this option you write orange. Are you clear? Are you clear of this? Okay, next, this is a way of appending the value. So if you see, I have to go here. If you see your example, currently nothing is there. I clicked on populate data. Okay, so I got apple, orange, as well as pineapple and lemon. These two I got, and these two we are going to discuss now. So there are many ways to populate that value. So what I am doing is I am trying to show you by using two ways. One is using this concept straightly. Another one is I declared one array. Check it out. Select value equal to 3 colon pineapple 4 colon lemon. So what I did, I created one array. Okay, array of having two values, value 1 and value 2. Value 1 and value 2. So in Java way I can say this is nothing but a hash map. Okay, I'll make it more clear. We created an array of 2 elements as of now. Okay, and in each element you have data inside each element you have data in key value pair. So if you see this, select value equal to 3 colon pineapple. 3 is key, this is value, key and value. So can I say this is a map? Yes, map having key value, map having key value, and these maps are stored in array. Okay, so 3 and pineapple, 4 and lemon. 3 pineapple, 4 lemon. Done. Next. Now this is for each. In Java we have for each. So this is for each. Okay, so you see this, for each select values, how many elements you have in this select value? How many elements you have in this select value? 4 or 2? 2. And each element is again a key value pair. Okay, so for each, this loop will iterate for how many times? Two times. Okay, this loop will iterate for 2 times, because for each select values you have 2 elements in select value. First element is this, second element is this. So for each element, okay, this for loop will iterate. This for loop will iterate for 2 times because I have just 2 values here. Now in each time this 3 will be placed here and this text will be placed here automatically. Okay, so let's understand it more clearly. This for loop will iterate for how many times? 2 times. First time this key will be 3 and value will be pineapple. Okay, now inside this dollar select box, what is this select box? What is this select box? This select box is nothing but this is the ID of this select box. Yes, ID of this select box. Okay, so already we had appended 2 more element, right? Initially we had only one element select, and then we appended 2 elements, I mean 2 values. Next, now what we are doing, select box dot append, okay, option comma value dot key. The value part will be key, this key means 3, and the text part will be this value. Okay, so this will happen for 2 times. First time 3 and pineapple will be appended, second time 4 and lemon will be appended here. Are you clear? That is the reason you see by the end of this, by the end of this method function execution, you will have altogether 5 elements. Check it out. Select is 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Okay, now the question is, which one shall I use in what condition? Answer is very simple. If this data below depends on some value that will come from database. So what do? You write some, you make some ajax call. I will teach you that also later. You make some ajax call, retrieve the data from database, and you want to you want to display that data in this component. So for that you have to use this one, because you don't know how many key value pair exists in the database. But if you know that, yeah, I have to work only with a fixed key and value pair, then you can directly hard code it, right? Conceptually, if you see, this looks very easy. Okay, but this you can use only when you know what is the key and value pair that should be displayed on your checkbox, sorry, select box. But if you are not sure what are the key value pair that we are going to use, it may come from database, then definitely this would be your choice. Okay, so let's go back. So we understood till this, right? We understood till this. Now I may select apple. When I select apple, it is displaying me you selected one. When I select pineapple, this will display me you selected three. So let's talk about this logic. So this is done. Next, if you see the id select box dollar has select box dot change. If you change any value from current to any new value, if you change any value of select box, call a function called select change, and this function is present somewhere at the bottom. Okay, so alert you selected dollar cell box dot val select box dot val. Okay, so whatever you have selected right now, that will be displayed. Clear? Okay, now we are done till this functionality. Empty will come. Okay, we understood what will happen when popular data will be called. This will be populated. This was previously this two using hard coded values, these two using for each, right? Using for each and map key value pair. Okay, and we also understood what how it is displaying. Whenever I select this, it is giving me you selected 3. That's fine. Now the last functionality which remain is remove. When I click on this remove, what should happen? When I click on remove, what should happen? The select box should be empty, right? The select box should be empty. Yes, we should remove all the elements. So click on this. You should remove all the elements, but you should preserve this select. Correct? You should remove all the elements, but you should preserve this select. Okay, so let's go and check the source code of it. Okay, now button 1. This was the button 1. This was the button 1, and this remove is basically a button 2. Remove is basically button 2. So button 2 dot click. Okay, btn2 click. This is the method name. So you can change the method name to remove elements, and here also you change the method name to remove elements. Okay, so here you see what I did. Select box dot empty. Select box dot empty has select box dot empty. You get access to that select box and say empty. It will empty the whole content, even this one. It will empty the whole content. Even this one also, it will make it empty. Okay, but if you do that, it will empty all the elements. So you have to again append this option, right? You have to again append this option. Clear? Let me comment this. You'll get to know. Commented, hit enter. By default select will come. Populate data, you got these elements. Say remove, it cleared everything. So I want at least that select, right? So if you want that select, so what do? You write this piece of code, dot select box dot append dollar option. Okay, so whatever you write here, that will be kept as the element. But you can also do something like this. You can also do something like this: select box option not option first remove. Try to understand this. Select box option not first. Not first means everything uh, except first. Dot remove. So what it will do? It will remove all except the first one. Clear? Similarly, you can also use dollar has select box option not the first and the last. Not first, not last. Dot remove. What it will do? It will remove everything except the first one and the last one. Are you clear? Okay, so we are done till here. Next, let me check this one. Okay, this is not ready. I will this is not a ready-made example. Text disappears. Okay, if you click me, I will disappear. Click me away, click me too. Click on this. Okay, click on this, click on this. So what is the concept we have used here? Hide. This dot hide, correct? Open this one. Okay, now you see this. We'll talk with body. We'll start with body. In the body, I have three paragraphs. Paragraph 1, paragraph 2, paragraph 3. Paragraph 1, paragraph 2, paragraph 3. Okay. If you click me, I will disappear. Click me away, click me too. So let's go here. This is my HTML page, and I have here paragraph 1, paragraph 2, paragraph 3. Paragraph 1, paragraph 2, paragraph 3. P3. Okay, we don't have any IDs here. Fine. So PPP, it's not P1, P2, P3, it's PPP. I by mistakenly wrote P1, P2, P3. So these are three paragraphs. Okay, PPP. So these are three paragraphs having some text inside it. Now what we did, so when this page is given to the browser will construct the DOM object, and once the DOM object is ready, okay, it will write this data into the document into the browser, and once this document is ready, it will call a fun1 method. So fun1 method will do what? For every paragraph we click, invoke this function. You see this $p, only p. Okay, when you say has, that means id. When you say on without has, that means the element. Here we did not write has, we just wrote p. That means for every paragraph, when you click on every paragraph function. So here I am trying to use anonymous function. Here I am trying to use an anonymous function. You can use it in this way, otherwise you say f1. Okay, for all the paragraph, you whenever somebody clicks on any paragraph, you call function f1, and you just write here function f1. This is also valid. This is also valid. Otherwise you can replace this with anonymous function. Okay, save it. We'll see this. Still we got this. 1 minute. Not disappearing. Let me see if any mistake. Yeah, the mistake is this one. Okay, because we are not using anonymous function, we close it here itself. So go back, hit enter, click on this, click on this, click on this. Okay, so this is how we use it. But if you want, you can replace it with anonymous function. How to replace? Very easy. Remove this name. Okay, this function does not have any name. Now you replace this here, you replace this here instead of this f1. Okay, here you are going to put this. Now when you put this, you remove this one and put it here, shift it little up. Got my point? Okay, so this is what we call anonymous function. You can use anonymous function also. Okay, so the meaning of this line is, whenever paragraph is clicked, call this anonymous function. This anonymous function is saying this dot hide. That means wherever you click, hide that. Okay, let's move to the next. Yeah, I don't think this is a proper example, so I believe this is what we have from basic jQuery. Okay, don't worry, we have a complex advanced jQuery also. We will take it up tomorrow, but today we just discussed what is jQuery, how to work with jQuery, and what is the basic concept of jQuery, and few examples. Are you clear on all these examples? You want to know few websites to learn jQuery? Okay, so you can just use Google. Okay, you can just use Google, and from Google you will get a lot of tutorials. jQuery UI is also good, and you'll get a lot of plugins. Let's say I want to implement uh, jQuery date picker. Okay, so you'll get a lot of other date pickers also. Click on this, click on this. Now see here, this is one date picker. Okay, similarly, if you are looking for anything, let's say fish eye. Okay, so you have to go through a lot of websites. You'll get a plenty of plugins created by various developers. Okay, so I just need to search where exactly is the demo. This would give some demo somewhere. Or you can just, yeah, here it is, the demo one. Okay, this is basically some sort of UI. Again, drop down. If you want to see the drop down, click on demo. maybe page not found, there is some problem with that. That's fine. This is scrollable, check the demo. This is also not found, that's okay, that's not our problem. Random link color, click on this. I'll close this, link 1, link 2, link 3, link 4, link 5. So if you see, the links are having various colors, right? Okay, so you will get a lot of jQuery plugins in the whole web. Okay, and I'll tell you one thing. Let's say I am very good in jQuery, so what I may do, I may download the jQuery plugin given by some other people, and you will have access to the source code. Get access to the source code, design your own plugin. Okay, design your own plugin by making it more better than what others have developed, and then give it back to the community. So what will happen, as I have given a plugin to the community, other people will use it. Out of that, one guy may again take the copy of my plugin, again you know he may generate its own plugin and again give it back to the community. So this is what people do. People take the data, people take the plugin, does modification, they do some modification, push it back to the community. So this is how the jQuery has grown like anything. Okay, so don't worry, we'll discuss more on the jQuery in tomorrow's class. Any questions?